Joining us right now is the man we've been talking about for the last couple hours on his team. It's Aaron Boone, and the Aaron Boone Report's brought to you by Jersey Mike's, the official sub sandwich shop of the New York Yankees, by Winters Brothers Waste Systems. Conveniently rent a dumpster online at wintersbros.com. Long Island's #1 choice for waste removal. Maybe the Yankees will be in there. wintersbros.com. And by Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited talk, text, and data. You could save up to 40%. Go to spectrummobile.com today. Aaron Boone, Craig, and Evan, good afternoon. How are you, buddy?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, I figured well, we're not doing good either. I'll say that. Couple things that I was really ticked off about last night, beyond just the loss. And I want to have an open, honest conversation with you about it. Number one, end of the game, Atlanta Braves, the final out of the game, and the Braves are posing and basically showing up the entire franchise out in short center field. Did you see it? And if you did, what is your reaction to, them, frankly, rubbing the Yankees' noses in another loss?
I did not see that. So I actually, that's news to me. I don't know what exactly you're talking about.
They were posing like an NFL team might pose after a touchdown, knowing that there's no retribution. I don't play them again until August. So here's the next thing that bothered me, non-baseball. Mm-hmm. Stanton, who's struggling big time like a lot of your lineup, is in the dugout after his last at-bat, and he throws the sweatshirt on like he's given up. Now, when you look to your right or left and you see a veteran leader like Giancarlo Stanton who throws the sweatshirt on over the jersey because in his opinion it's over, how do you react to that?
I don't have any issue with our guys and their care and their focus and where they're at. I would chalk that more up to him as a DH. You maybe just catching it at that time on a freezing cold night, trying to stay warmer in between at bats. So I think I wouldn't read into that.
I'm reading into it because and I know you're going to say they do care, so I can't say they don't. But one of the biggest problems right now is not just that you're not playing well and not scoring. There's the image of apathy, and it's killing the fan base to watch guys either not run a ball out to first like Gleyber last night, to strike out, ground out, whatever it is, bases loaded, this and that, and just walk back to the dugout with no fire, no energy, no passion. And that's what's killing the fan base more than anything. It appears like they just don't give a damn.
Yeah, well, I would wholeheartedly say that is absolutely not true. And because a guy doesn't throw a temper tantrum every time they make an out or whatever, our guys are hurting over this start, are grinding big time, are pissed off. But also, I get back to hitting, especially. It's a game of you're going to take your lumps even when it's going well, and you've got to manage your emotions. And it's one of the things we're talking about a lot right now is when you're going through a tough stretch, if you're not in command of your emotions, and everyone's different. I don't want guys to not be themselves. So some guys get upset and you see it. Some guys, hold it in, whatever. But right now, we've got to be ourselves and walking between the lines, having done all your prep work, having gotten ready for your opponent, have a game plan going in, and then when the bell rings at 6:35 or 6:10 tonight, there's got to be a level of now go out and just play and have fun playing this game, because that's when they're going to ultimately get at their best. Because I think as a group, and it's because it's early and it's all we have to go on, and even with guys with really strong track records, I do think there's, some guys that you can want it a little bit too much, and that gets you out of your strengths, which our strength is absolutely, controlling the zone and working pitchers down. And we haven't done that like we're going to yet.
Because everybody's struggling. Do you notice that guys are pressing, that guys are trying to be the one to get this offense going? And is that kind of building towards this collective slump that we've seen over the first 17 games?
I think it's been a little bit in and out. Like, I feel like there's days for certain guys where I see them start to look more and more like themselves, and start to string together some at bats. But when you're still not getting those results, and then the rest of the guys are struggling too, you got to get through that. I mean, that's one of the biggest challenges of being, especially a hitter in this game, in the game, and just relating it to when I was a player and going through struggles where I had a couple seasons where I got off to really slow starts for an extended period, and there's a point you got to get to a point of where you say, screw it, I'm going to come in and absolutely prepare and work my tail off. But when game time rolls around, then it's go out and let the chips fall where they may. And to truly get to that place, that place and that mental state is liberating. But you got to get there and not just say you're there. And once we do that, we're going to bang. There's no doubt in my mind.
As a guy who's played, as you said, and you're the son of a manager and you have a lot of experience, does getting pissed off as the manager work? Like if you, and I wasn't there last Friday when you were angry with the team or whatever you were, if you do something tonight, does that stuff work? Has it worked in your past?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's not even about, I don't do things to, I don't react or, have conversations or meetings with my club for anything other than trying to be authentic and trying to express my thoughts. And you have conversations and meetings throughout the year, sometimes as a group, sometimes individually in an office, where you're just trying to tap into every single player and ultimately get the most out of each player. And I also feel like every player is a little bit different, and they need tapping into them requires different strokes for each and every individual. And one of my jobs, our jobs as coaches, is to try and tap into those guys and try and get them in a position to get the most out of them.
So what did you tap into with Gleyber Torres when he doesn't run that ball out in the seventh inning? How'd you handle it?
That's a conversation with me and him in my office, and simple as that. I mean,
we're having a lot of those conversations though lately. This is a veteran team and guys that have been through it, and you won a lot of games in the regular season. You've been to the postseason every year. You've been the manager. You almost think like, hey, listen, when you recognize things aren't going well, when you're not getting the big hit and guys are struggling, that you're going to refocus on the fundamentals, do the little things right. And that seems to be lacking too. And again, I don't want to pick on Gleyber. He's having a tough start to his season, but more than any year in his short career. But it's like we had that conversation with Sanchez. Now we're having it with Gleyber. And to me, it shouldn't always be Aaron Boone that's got to say something. Like, you have guys that have been around. Brett Gardner, whomever it is. Do guys hold each other accountable for that kind of crap?
Yeah, I think they do, and I don't know if it's a refocus on fundamentals. I mean, that is a focus for us. When we go to spring training, and from the start of spring training, it's working on whether it's the intensity in our defensive work every single day. Whether it's the pitchers and their fielding stuff, base running. These things never stop. They just get accented when, a team like us that's obviously, built around our offense, right. All of a sudden when that's not there, we're not a speed team and we're not a manufacture runs kind of team, but I wouldn't say it's a refocus. We absolutely put a premium on being the best we can possibly be, defensively and whether it's in our leads and our breaks and when we're able to take extra bases and things like that. That's always a constant focus, even when we're rolling.
Was there any part of you that thought in the first game against the Braves, a game you have the lead in, bases loaded, 1 out, okay, here we go. This is going to be the moment where we kind of break out of it and start moving forward. And, so you get the 2 runs on the wild pitch and the walk, but didn't get the clutch hit. You won the game, which is at the end of the day all that matters. Were you kind of feeling in the moment, this is where we turn it, or no?
I've had a number of those moments so far, frankly. Like you're waiting for that big inning, or when we do get them out there. And last night we had an opportunity later part of the game where we loaded the bases
with DJ, right?
Really our only really good, strong scoring opportunity. And DJ hit a ball hard, but right at third baseman to get out of it. But there's been a handful of those so far. I would say to start the season where, man, is this time we kind of break through and start to get over the hump?
It feels like
we haven't been able to do it yet.
It feels like one hit could do that. That was the one disappointing thing out of Tuesday night because, as Craig said, a win's a win. So at the end of the day, you're thrilled you got a victory. But that one hit, it feels like that relaxes everybody and wakes everybody up. And then all of a sudden, as you say to your quote, you guys start banging because then everybody relaxes.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's absolutely something to that. But I think we got to start having those smaller successes too. I go back to, I think in 19, we got off to a slow start in 19, and we went to Houston and actually got swept in Houston in whatever point in April during the season. And the back half of the second game of that series and the last game of that series, we actually started to play really well. We played good baseball. We had good at-bats, and we happened to lose the game. And I remember thinking, leaving Houston, going, okay, here we come a little bit. And sure enough, we got it rolling. I'm still waiting for that moment to where we start to really put it together. And last year when we went into that, we had that 2-week struggle, and we got beat up in Buffalo. We had a game that we lost in Buffalo where we actually played really well. We swung the bats well. We didn't score a lot, but we had really good at bats, hit the ball hard, and it kind of spearheaded us into, I think we ended up winning 8 or 9 or 10 in a row or something. So we got to build on some small successes that we have, quality at bats that we can have, well pitched games that we are frankly getting. Like, our bullpen's been really good. I feel like our starting pitching is getting to where it needs to be, and and then build on the at bat quality and hopefully start to roll. I know it's coming.
Well, I want to go back to Friday against Tampa Bay. So Mike King has now pitched 9 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. Mm-hmm. Speaking of how well the bullpen has pitched, why not start him? He's a starting pitcher. What's the thinking behind, let's go Nick Nelson for the first, and he gave up the 2 runs, and then King was great. I know he walked a few guys, but got out of it. He was great. The guy's pitched 9 innings, hasn't given up a run. Why not start Mike King on Friday night?
Well, he's very much in that mix to start, and he might start a game here for us coming up at some point, or could come out of the pen. Michael has come a long way, and even though he struggled the other night a little bit, was terrific in his first game outing of the year, and then made a lot of big pitches to get out of a few innings where, it was a little bit of a struggle for him, but I felt like that was real progress for him. Whereas, last year he would have those outings where, he would come out and struggle to find the zone at all. And so we knew we had bulk with Michael King going into that game. And we just felt like because he had settled in as a reliever, we felt like coming in behind, we felt better about him being able to give us real length. Whereas if it at all was a struggle early, we didn't have a bulk guy behind him. So that was the thinking. Look, I know it's less traditional, but and any time we do it and it doesn't work, it obviously gets scrutinized. But the reality is, it has worked a lot for us as well as a lot of other teams around the league.
The other guy I wonder about, because I think back to last year, the biggest start of the regular season was thrown by Davy Garcia. I don't know if you agree with that as the manager. I certainly feel that way as a baseball fan. Where is he? Like, I know he's at the alternate site, so I'm out watching him pitch down there. Maybe there's something you guys don't love from what you're seeing. But why not Davy Garcia tonight? Why hasn't Davy Garcia made a start at the major league level yet?
Davy's with us on this trip as part of our taxi squad, and there is a chance that he might be, because we're obviously in the midst of now 13 in a row, so we're going to insert a 6th starter, and Davy is a candidate to potentially make that in the coming days.
Talking to Aaron Boone.
Would that be Sunday? I'm sorry, Craig. Would that be Sunday? Obviously, Cole Bieber on Saturday is tremendous. Is that Sunday a day you're eyeing?
It could be Sunday. It could be Monday as well. It kind of depends, where we are roster-wise in the next day or two.
Evan claims I'm crazy, but is Stanton benched because of his performance for today's game?
No, it's more, I was kind of looking at this day coming up, obviously the late travel, knowing like with all our guys, they're going to get a day at some point in this stretch of, 13 in a row. How the pitching lines up for Cleveland, with Gio being down today, just made the most sense, coming off a long trip to do it today with G.
And I don't want to nitpick at bats, but I did find it interesting last night. I thought Aaron Hicks had a great at bat against Smith in the ninth because he's in a 1-2 hole. He works the walk out of it. And then, Sanchez gets up and swings at 5 balls out of the strike zone, winds up striking out. And again, it's one at bat. I don't want to nitpick one at bat. But to me, that's the problem. Like, you're down 2 runs at the time, but it's before Hicks scores. You're down 4 runs. You got to get guys on base. Smith walks Hicks, throws a ball to start off the at-bat to Sanchez, and then he just starts swinging. And I'm saying to myself, is he aware of the situation? Like, what are we doing? And I wondered what your thought was on that at-bat.
Yeah, it wasn't a great at-bat, obviously. And unfortunately, and especially, you're going up against closer in that situation. That's also, what they're paid to get done, and what they're able to do is usually get you to leave your zone. But look, collectively, we've got to just have better at bats if we're going to start playing winning baseball and start producing like we're capable of offensively.
So what do you guys need? Do you need like a team night out? Everyone gets drunk together? Do you need a fight? Do you need a beanball incident? Like, there is going to come a point where you're going to get tired of saying it. We're going to get tired of asking about it. The fans are going to get tired of watching it. And there's nothing worse in New York than being irrelevant. You guys know that. Like, you've been around a long time. Your family's been in baseball a long time. When you guys sit around a fireplace and talk old baseball, this kind of crap must come up. Other than the obvious, cross your fingers and hope that they hit the ball today. What do you think you guys need to spark something? Just something to show us a little energy or something.
Yeah, I think it's building on small successes, and it's going to happen. And it's not wishful thinking when you have, the quality of players that we have with the track record of success. Like, it's going to happen. And whether we're looking back, 2-3 weeks from now, a month from now, we'll probably point to something that may or may not be the reason or may not be relevant in us turning it around, other than we're really good players. They can really hit, and eventually that'll come out.
The thing that most callers and Yankee fans try to do to spark the team is to change the lineup. And usually it doesn't happen. You did it today. I think this is the first time DJ LeMahieu is not leading off since, 2019. I could be wrong. He's been your leadoff guy forever. He's batting second today. Is that a part of trying to spark the team? Tell us your thoughts on changing the lineup the way you did tonight.
Yeah, a little bit. But, also with Gio being down today and obviously having Stanton out of there, Savali wanting to get at least a few lefties in there against Savali, who's a little bit, can be tougher on righties, even though he's a really good pitcher anyway. Just again with us and with me making our lineup a lot of times, especially when we don't typically have a lot of left-handed hitters in there, a lot of it comes down to some spacing or the personnel you're facing. What's the other team's bullpen like? You're trying not to give them automatic easy lanes for some of their guys that are specialists. But also mixing things up a little bit and, trying to get a little spark going with some of our guys and hopefully this little change up today can be the light.
This is going to
be the igniter.
The ignite. This is going to be a weird. This is going to be a weird question, Aaron. But I'm curious. I literally, and Craig makes fun of me for this, I can't sleep certain nights when my team lose. Like, I really can't. Like, the Mets play crappy, the Nets play, I just can't sleep. Have you been sleeping well? Like, how do you take it as the guy who manages this team? You're not playing anymore, so there's only so much you can do. So there's got to be like this, a little bit of helplessness. Like, I put the lineup together. I can yell a couple of times. Like, are you sleeping well? How are your nights after your team, basically gets 5 hits and scores 1 run?
Right. It varies. There's nights when, There's nights when I do a little better than others, but it varies.
Who's your go-to guy? Like when you go back to the hotel, like other than your family, your kids, and that stuff to keep you grounded. Do you have a go-to person, an older person in baseball that you throw things off just to BS, just to kind of clear your head?
Other than family, I talked to Jimmy Leland a little bit. But mostly, talk with, spend time with my coaching staff and staff members and, kind of grind through this whole thing with the rest of the troops.
Have you heard Jim Leland sing?
He has not been singing to me, but
I'm being dead serious about this. So when I lived in Denver, Jimmy Leland was the manager out there, okay? Yeah. And we're at the Chop House Steakhouse right by, Coors Field. And I'm sitting at the bar, single guy minding my own business, and Jimmy Leland comes in.
He was there for like 1 year, too, in Colorado.
Yeah, and he sits down, and we start BSing with each other. And neither one of us are feeling any pain.
Right.
And, the restaurant's slowly shutting down, and he starts singing. He's serenading me.
Really?
And
was it good?
Dude, the guy's got the voice of an angel when he sings.
Well, maybe I'll call him tonight and see if he can sing me to sleep.
Listen,
maybe that'll help me get a good night's sleep.
I'm going to ask you a solid here. At some point before we talk next week, if you do talk to Jimmy, you ask him about singing in Denver, Colorado. Now, he won't remember me being a part of it. So then
He tries to forget being in Denver, Colorado for the year he was there.
Then there's a charity event,
right?
A very small, 20-person, highfalutin, big cash dinner. And they go, we have a huge surprise coming to entertain you. They bring Jim Leland in with a microphone and a karaoke machine. And I'm not BSing you. He sang old, standards like Sinatra, Motown for 45 minutes. It was unbelievable.
I had no idea. No idea.
You got to ask him about it, all right?
I will.
And then final thing before we let you go.
Yep.
Last night I played Evan at MLB The Show.
Oh,
I was the Yankees because I'm a fan of the Yankees.
Oh,
he was the Mets. You know the deal. I gave my fandom to you this year.
Uh-huh.
I got Garrett Cole on the mound. Now, to be fair, Jay Bruce was still in my lineup.
He had 2 home runs, Aaron.
Here's the deal.
He did?
Yes. He had 2 bombs,
Bombs.
So I'm throwing a no-hitter in the 7th inning. Evan lays down the bunt, down 5 runs, being no hit. Baseball world, he gets beaned, does he not?
I don't think so.
Thank you, Aaron. I need base runners. I'm trying to win the game. Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what else, Aaron? This moron had the shift on. So what am I supposed to do?
Well, Nimmo was up.
That's right. Especially if you're going to shift them. All bets are off.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
You see? Apologize.
Tell Stan to bunt next time they got the shift on him. Well, listen. I know this ain't fun, but it's a lot of fun when you're winning. So it goes both ways, and hopefully they figure this out. It's just I would leave you with one thing, and I don't know how else to impress it upon you. Sometimes I think guys that do what you do and players lose sight of this. Not saying you did, but I think players lose sight of it. Obviously, fans want you to win every game, but the fans don't like it when they feel like they're being taken advantage of. And when it appears that players are apathetic and don't care. And that's the image the Yankees have right now. And that really bothers people. So I don't know.
I would say in the annals of go back in time, when offenses struggle, it can have a little bit of lifelessness and lacking energy to it. It's age old, go to every team every year, and that's the conversation. It just seems like there's a lack of energy. Usually it's around hitting, but I promise you it's not from a lack of care or a lack of hunger from the guys in that room that desperately, want to be the best.
All right, do me a favor. At some point, check out the highlights of the last out last night, just to keep it in the back of your mind for August when you play the Braves again. It's something you got to remember for a few months, okay?
All right, appreciate you guys. Take care.
Aaron Boone Report brought to you by Jersey Mike's, the official sub sandwich shop of the New York Yankees.